It must be about 18 years ago. And last time I was here, I showed a 24-hour cycle. So it's very nice to come back here with an equally kind of brutal piece in a way, and it's called Phantom. And it's a piece that I kind of developed in relationship to some music that Rufus Wainwright had been working on. As Rufus was developing this album called Songs for Lulu, I started to develop an idea, and the title Phantom actually came up from a very pragmatic response to the fact that the camera that we used is called a Phantom, and it's a very specific camera that shoots the equivalent of 2,000 frames a second, so that the slow motion that you get is actually filmed in real time. There's no After Effect necessity. It goes way back to 1996 when I was getting ready for the Turner Prize thing in London, and at that time Channel 4 had a film crew come up to Glasgow. I was living in Glasgow then. And I got talking to one of the cameramen, and he told me that his father had shot a film that nobody's seen of John Lennon smoking a cigarette at something like 1,200 frames a second, like using one of these big industrial cameras. And that kind of stuck in my head for some reason, I suppose. I always kind of wanted to do something as extreme as that. The drive for me has always been to just push it a little bit more in any part of life, actually. And with the work, let's see how slow we can really go, and to see how much it can still engage people. The aesthetic that I used for this piece, when Rufus Wainwright and I had been talking about his inspiration or drive or whatever being Louise Brooks, so I spent a lot of time watching her films, and I really just started to watch little parts of it in slow motion and really concentrate on her amazing eyes. I almost wanted like the tears of Joan of Arc from the Carol Dreyer film, but with the makeup of Louise Brooks. I suppose sometimes when you remember someone crying, it happens in slow motion, and there's always that idea that, if you've ever been in some kind of a physical trauma, you can experience it in slow motion. There are these very powerful elements. There's the film and there's the music. It's not as simple as it looks. You start to realize that there's actually a grand piano, which is mute, but very alive in a way. And then there's a baby grand piano, which has been burnt alive. And I'd forgotten how powerful these objects were for me. It's almost like a mother standing over a dead child, and that's a bit heavy, but that's life, or death, I suppose. There's a lot going on in that dark space, and I don't just mean physically dark. I think it's metaphorically very dark. I think that the use of the eye is giant references, of course, from Georges Bataille, and then of course very direct reference to a scene from Spellbound, where Gregory Peck's hallucinating and all these eyes and things start to appear. And I think there's even more than that. There's a lot of references to the way that women were cast, like Lillian Gish, for example, or Louise Brooks, or Greta Garbo, and the way that the eyes that were lit in particular, so that the eye doesn't just stay as an eye, it starts to operate as other parts of the body. You don't have to say which ones, And the fact that it's secreting very slowly, becomes an anatomical joke in a way, and also a big reference, to all the things that I just mentioned. I think it's supposed to be about provoking enough of a memory that people take it away and do their own thing with it. For me, artwork, which I think is powerful, it's something that you should be able to take away. You don't have to be present in front of it. And that's the potency of the artwork when it works.
Sitting here in the afternoon, making love underneath the awning. I'll then tell you